The light tank is a weapon equipment used to perform battlefield reconnaissance, flanking, and other tasks, and it should have the characteristics of lightness and flexibility. However, not all light tanks are like this. During World War II, the Soviet Union designed and produced the T-70 light tank, which is a somewhat unqualified light tank. In the early stages of World War II, the Soviet Army originally intended to produce a better-performing T-50 light tank. However, due to severe restrictions on the Soviet industry in the early stages of the Soviet-German War, the factories found that they could not produce this type of tank as planned, as their transmission and other components did not match the existing system. In order to quickly meet the needs of the troops, the designers took less than a month to develop the T-60 light tank, which was actually a light tank integrated with existing technology and equipment. Although it met the production conditions, its performance was not very good. In 1942, the Soviet Union planned to upgrade the T-60 and create a more superior light tank with greater mobility. This became the T-70, with some of the tank's performance being enhanced. Production began the same year and continued until 1948. The T-70 light tank was an improvement over the T-60, with an enlarged chassis size, an increased vehicle length to 4.92 meters, and an increase in the number of load-bearing wheels from 4 pairs to 5 pairs. The power was changed to 2 6-cylinder water-cooled gasoline engines, each with an output of 51.45 kilowatts. Despite having 2 engines, each driving one side of the tracks, in actual operation, it was unable to balance the power output on both sides. Coupled with the increase in tank weight, the actual maximum speed was 45 to 50 km per hour, not much stronger than the T-60, and did not have any significant advantage compared to medium tanks of the time. The tank's firepower was greatly enhanced, with the T-70 being equipped with a 45mm tank gun and 91 rounds, capable of firing armor-piercing or high-explosive shells, greatly enhancing its striking power. It also had a 7.62mm machine gun as secondary armament. However, by the later stages of World War II, this firepower was already inadequate, as the main guns of the tanks of the time had generally increased to 75mm. The armor protection was also greatly strengthened, with the armor increased to 40mm and the turret front to 60mm, and later to 45mm and 70mm respectively. Despite this, this level of defense was not very effective against 75mm anti-tank guns on the battlefield. Furthermore, it added weight to the tank and compromised its mobility. In addition to these hardware issues, the other designs of the T-70 also limited its combat capabilities. The tank had a crew of 2, and the tank commander was busy inside the narrow single-person turret. They had to observe the battlefield, operate the radio, load the gun, aim and fire, and give orders to the driver. Even a well-trained German tank commander would find this difficult to handle. Another major issue was that during most of World War II, the Soviet Army lacked radios, and only a few T-70s were equipped with radios. This meant that information could not be conveyed in a timely manner during missions, and there was no efficient coordination with other friendly forces. Of course, the T-70 had its advantages, with its weight of 9.8 tons being a major one. This lighter weight meant better mobility, especially in the Eastern European region where the frozen ground thawed in the spring. This was a rare advantage for the T-70. As an upgraded wartime equipment, the T-70 could not be expected to perform very well. It was just an auxiliary equipment for the Soviet tank army, and the Soviet army was not very satisfied with it. Compared to other models that were produced in the tens of thousands, even with modifications made to cater to mass production, the total production of the T-70 was only 8,226 units, with some chassis being used to modify into self-propelled anti-aircraft guns and other weapons. Throughout World War II, the T-70 performed averagely, quietly doing its job. However, there were exceptions, such as when Lieutenant Pogov commanded a T-70 in 1944 and successfully ambushed two Panther medium tanks at a dangerous distance of 200 meters. This was perhaps the most glorious moment for the T-70.